welcome to the Liverpool Community Podcast. I'm your host, Chase Johnson Lynch. And as you know, we like to find interesting people within the community that are doing interesting things, positive things, and things that we think you should know about. And one such a person that is joining us here today is Victoria Walsh from the Wirral Maternity Voices. How you doing, Victoria?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming because I found your story really intriguing and everything like that. And basically, as we say, World Maternity Voices. Why don't you just give us kind of like an overview of what that is?
Okay, so in 2016, a document called Better Births came out, and that document was all about improving maternity services. And one of the suggestions was that a group should be created called Maternity Voices Partnership for each and every maternity service provider. So every hospital that has a maternity ward. And instead of having a clinician, a doctor, or a midwife run that group, it should be led by somebody who's had a baby within that trust at that local hospital. And the reasonings for that are because we're independent. We see things from outside of the situation
Yeah.
rather than being a clinician that's in that situation day in, day out. That's their job. Seeing it from a patient, a service user's perspective, and being that step away from the hospital, that level of independence, to ensure that voices of those pregnant people, pregnant women, are really being heard.
Yeah.
As we know, if you sometimes when you tell a clinician that you're not happy about something, you might worry that your level of care will change. And this way, it's just a step outside of that in order to ensure that you feel comfortable sharing your experience of pregnancy, of maternity, giving birth, and the postnatal period.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a person who's going through an experience from that point of view would have more of an idea about what works and what doesn't work
Yes,
and everything. So I think this was like an NHS working group, right? That
yes, that's what
decided
we're
to,
called. Yeah.
to bring these people together. But also now, what's somewhat interesting is that you are like the lead on the world,
I am. Yeah.
but there are each kind of like I guess area has their own lead. Like there's a lead on Liverpool, a
Yes.
lead in Cheshire,
Yep.
but you said it's also a national program.
It is. So every hospital that has a maternity unit should have a maternity voices partnership with a lead who is a local person who has experienced those maternity services. So yeah, it every trust should have one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, even though it's like so here in the Northwest, we got the Three Amigos or the Three Musketeers and stuff. I mean, do you guys get together? Do you have parties?
Not quite parties. I wish we would,
No,
but
exactly,
no, not
exactly.
quite
But
parties.
yeah, but I
Um,
mean, you share information, don't you?
We do. We work very closely together, the three chairs, because there's not that much physical distance
Yeah,
between our hospitals, and it makes sense to share the workload,
yeah.
to share ideas, bounce ideas off each other, and just hearing what's going on in different areas.
No, no, definitely. And I mean, so I mean, the main thing is that you're advocates
Yeah,
for patients
yeah,
and their care, and just making sure that, I think one of the things you had said to me later on is that you prefer that people have found you earlier, but people tend to kind of approach you or your organization when the problem is already in motion
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Obviously, got email, and we work really hard to push that we're here, that we exist, and what it is that we do. But it is very often that people find me after an event, after a negative experience, rather than finding me when it could be that something's just starting and they're unhappy, and that's a point where I can try and step in and try and rectify a situation before it gets to that point of complaint. And that's what the hospital want. They don't want complaints. They want to be able to fix things,
Yeah.
nip them in the bud.
But then again, is the fact is that I mean, one would always hope and pray that there would be no problems that are coming from the clinicians. And I think at one point we were talking about, which I thought was interesting, you called it like a white coat syndrome.
Yeah,
Where it's like, a doctor who's wearing a white coat automatically has your trust that they have your heart and soul in their hands. But they can, you know, over, overlook things, can't they?
it's a stressful time for the NHS.
Mm.
There's shortage of midwives nationally. It's a difficult working environment, and
Yeah.
I fully believe that they are trying to do their best, but it's about ensuring that that pregnant person and that pregnant woman is fully informed of her pregnancy and what decisions she can make. And it's about that person making the decision, not the clinician. The clinician's role is there to explain the risks and the benefits.
Yeah.
But the decision should be made by the pregnant person. They should be making an informed decision from the information that they're given from their midwife or their consultant, and have ownership of their pregnancy journey. But
Yeah.
as you said, yeah, white coat syndrome, beloved NHS, we sometimes, and I've been guilty of, just go, oh, okay, yeah.
Mm.
But then maybe you come home from an appointment and you think, oh, actually, I've got a few more questions now that I've thought about it.
Yeah.
Where do I go to get these questions answered? It's a few more weeks until my next midwifery appointment. That's when they can get in touch with me at Maternity Voices and say, actually, I've got these questions, they're unanswered, where do I go?
Yeah.
And the hospital are amazing, like I was saying to you, at personalising the care and allowing me to ring them, to text them, to email them, and pass over this person's concerns in order for them to answer it.
And how seriously does the hospital take such an advocacy? I mean, because, obviously, the NHS does a fantastic job. We want to make that clear. But, sometimes some people slip through the cracks. I mean, if you look at it individually. So, like, for people to at least step up and at least share, like you said, not wait for the next appointment or whatever. How seriously do you think the hospital do actually take the advocacy?
I think I can only speak for Arrow Park Hospital, Wirral University Trust Hospital, and they are 100% listening.
Yeah.
There has never been a time when they've not answered my calls or texts or emails. They have always ensured that whatever personal details I'm passing over from a service user, a pregnant person, that they answer those queries. It might not be that the service user, the pregnant person, gets what they want out of their pregnancy, because the hospital have to look at it from a clinical perspective, but it's then they take the time as clinicians to explain why certain decisions have been made and explain those benefits and explain those risks in more detail if it's what that person needs. It's just about personalising the care and ensuring that voices are heard. And I can only speak for the hospital that I work for, but as I said, I do work with other MVP chairs and hear what goes on in other areas of the country. And I feel that on the Wirral, voices are definitely being heard.
Yeah. at this point, like you usually ask people kind of like, what is their like origin story? And I mean, obviously, this job, is a passion project for you
Very
and everything
definitely.
like that, So can you give us a little bit about, like what do you think inspired you to go down this road?
I'm sitting here today sharing about Maternity Voices Partnership because of my own experience of when I was pregnant with my son. He was my second pregnancy. My first has ended in miscarriage.
Oh, sorry.
And I was around 30 weeks pregnant where I felt a pain here in my chest. It felt very much like somebody was pulling my bra from behind me and like suffocating me. I didn't have blurry lights, I didn't have headaches, I just had this one pain here. And I rang the midwife team that I was under 6 years ago, explaining how I was feeling, and it was very much heartburn, indigestion, third trimester. And on the third call, within a period of 5 days, they said, oh, just go up to the walk-in centre, your local walk-in centre, and get checked out if you're really uncomfortable. So I did that, and I saw a GP who said, "Oh, I think you've got gastroenteritis. I'm going to send you to the surgical assessment unit in the main hospital."
Right.
So I went up there with my husband and my mum, and it was a junior doctor who did a urine sample, took my blood pressure, and said, "You've got preeclampsia. You're going to maternity right now," and actually told the porter to run. And I was very quickly taken to maternity and dealt with very succinctly and safely. And he was delivered at 31 weeks. He weighed £2 7 ounces. Wasn't breathing when he was born. He was intubated, and we spent 7 weeks in the neonatal unit. But he is a beautiful 6-year-old who makes up for it in volume now. He's very loud, Lego obsessed.
Of course. Of course.
And he's perfect now, but that stayed.
But at
with
that
us.
moment, I mean, like for you and your partner, must have been really horrific because I think you said it was like the third visit as well,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
third time I'd called.
You know, because again, through that white coat syndrome, it's like, I'm going to listen to the doctor, but
Yeah.
I mean, and then it must be one of those things that made you realize that, if I could do anything, I can do this
Yeah.
and get involved with maternity voices and stuff. That's just I just think that's just fascinating and interesting. Now, I mean, I was asking, like how are you funded, but then you said you're not.
My position is funded 2 days a week.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the organization, I mean, thankfully she's funded.
I don't have a budget.
Right, no budget, and stuff like that. NHS. But like, do you put on events?
I do. So we
But
do.
not really fundraising events, but just kind of like
No. Listening events.
Yeah.
Or events that have a special meaning. So a listening event would be one of our smaller events where we would find a venue that would offer us the space free of charge. And our consultant midwife, Dr. Angela Carrigan, is amazing. She takes time away from her duties at the hospital to come out into the public to hear the voices of those that have used maternity services.
Nice.
So whether it's somebody who's still pregnant or whether it's somebody that's had a baby, and she always makes a point of saying at the beginning, positive or negative, we need to hear these experiences because they, as a hospital, can't make improvements to the service unless they know what's working really well and what needs improving upon. So she comes out into the public with me and we just sit in a circle, and we sometimes have babies playing on the floor, and the mums and the dads and the partners will talk about their experiences, and she will listen and she will take that back to the hospital and use that information to improve the service directly from hearing, because it's different hearing it from somebody when they've got the emotion behind it to me typing it up in an email.
Yeah.
And she's so amazing at taking out her time to come and really listen, and she does. And very often she shares her own experiences as well of her own pregnancies, which makes her seem more real.
Yeah.
Which is she's really good at. But we also do much bigger events. So in May, we did a maternal mental health event where we had 15 different stalls, we had free demonstrations, we had gift bags full of free goodies for anyone that came along, and we had the maternal mental health midwives doing a singing mamas session where they got everybody up in the room to sing. It's supposed to release the oxytocin and improve mental health. We had local charities like Koala Northwest, which supports families. We had NHS services like Talking Together Wirral that show what they can do to improve the mental health of our pregnant population. And then we've got an event coming up in June, which is for infant mental health, and the theme this year is bonding before birth. So again, we've got lots of stall holders that have got things to offer to support that bonding before birth. We're going to have a a wonderful organisation called Moonbeam Yoga, who are going to come and do prenatal yoga, prenatal relaxation. Another organisation called Movement and Bloom Social Walks that offer free social walks on the Wirral, which is just mums and prams and bumps all going along for a walk and a chat to improve mental health. So they're coming along. Wirral Mind, another local charity, have a fantastic organisation called Mums Matter, which is a course that mums can undertake to improve their mental health. So lots of different signposting is available at the event, as well as free tasters.
Now that's a lot, isn't it? I mean, gee,
It's a lot
you know
to
what I mean?
organise.
Well, it's a lot to organize, but also too is that this is again where the community could also support an organization like this because, you know, if I remember right, she said at one of these events there was no food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You could
man.
purchase food.
You can
Bring
purchase
a
food.
picnic.
Yeah, you bring your own,
Bring your
right?
own, bring a
But or
picnic.
you can also help support, you know, an organization like this, which is doing it for, you know, other people and everything. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being facetious, but I'm also just saying that, like, because I think you were saying that you had to like pay for one of your own roll-up banners and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, but then somebody had donated like a cloth,
A
a
tablecloth with
tablecloth.
our printed logo on.
Look at
Somebody
that. That's all
donated
I'm
it.
talking about. You know, bring some milk and cookies. Milk and cookies. I want some milk and cookies. You know what I mean, come on, man. That's all I'm trying to say. But you know, also too is that like I wanted to talk about this thing where you were saying this is always about these reports and papers that go about. But you were talking about the
Ockenden
Ockenden
and
and
East
East Kent
Kent.
reports. And it came out in 2022. Talking about what the hospitals need to do, you know, and everything, and what did they actually learn from those reports.
I think they learn a lot about how, as a provider of maternity services, what they need to do in order to improve,
Yeah, you
not
talking
just
about
the
the key
service that,
performers.
yeah, not the service, but to prevent loss of life,
Yeah,
whether that's the pregnant person, the mother, or the baby.
reduce stillbirths.
Yeah, reduce stillbirths, reduce accidents, improve it for the very reason that they're there to deliver babies and to do it safely, and how to do it safely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know, because again, you know, it's about, I believe it's about compassion, right? But, you know, obviously, you know, these doctors and midwives, they work hard. They have a lot of patient care to deal with and everything else like that. There's a lot on their plate. Like when you were just saying how Liverpool only really has like one maternity hospital in the Liverpool Women's, you know, it's a lot of work.
It is.
It is, but I mean, again, the patient care and patient health should also be a tantamount
Yeah,
situation.
and I mean, one of the key performance indicators that they've got to meet is to have a maternity voices and truly listen to the maternity voices group, and it not just be a tick box exercise.
Yeah,
To truly listen and hear those voices, because if you don't hear, then you don't know what is working well and what isn't.
no, that's true. That's true. I was also saying, you know, it's like, do you, your time there? I mean, do you have any like personal success stories that you want to reflect on?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest success stories comes during the time of, COVID and lockdowns. And I had a dad message me in a same sex couple. They were having a surrogacy pregnancy and finding it very difficult to not be in the scans, because at that time only the pregnant person was allowed in the scan, not the father, not the partner. And that was very difficult for all couples, and it was very difficult for these dads because they were having to hear from the surrogate afterwards.
Right.
what was happening during the scans, what news that she had, and they both wanted to be present at the birth of their baby, rightly so, I believe.
So yeah.
And it was about working with the hospital to ensure that not only the surrogate was supported with a partner of her choosing, but also that these dads didn't have to flip a coin and choose which one of us is going to meet our child first.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're the parents, they're the ones going home with this baby. And it was about sharing their voice with the hospital to and we were successful in they were both there at the time in the theatre to meet their baby.
I think what was interesting about that particular story is that we see that story a lot in films, around surrogacy and having to give over your baby and all that. And I thought it was like you said how the surrogate herself had a support partner, and I'm used to the movies where it's like, no, give up your baby or don't give up your baby. I want to keep my baby. And all that other kind of stuff. But in the real world, it's like, she made a
Everyone's
choice.
supported.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, it's different. So that was really interesting, I thought. Now, I want to talk a little bit in the end here about like social media because like your organization seems to do a lot with social media.
We try. It's very. I'm sitting here today, and you've got all the gear, and I have.
Don't be jealous.
I have two mobile phones.
Two
propped
mobile
up,
phones and a fan.
and a fan that makes a noise that you can hear over the talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way,
We're trying.
the information is important. So
Yes.
you have fortnightly live streams.
Fortnightly live streams with the consultant midwife, Dr. Angela Kerrigan. Again, she's giving up her time to.
And that's good for people who need information or whatever stages they're at.
Yeah, so it could be, you just want to know what the visiting times are after you've had the baby. It could be you want to know the process of an induction of labour or the process of a caesarean section. You want to know what happens at a 16-week scan. And she will take questions that are emailed in beforehand. Or she'll answer comments that come up in real time as we're doing it, as long as they're not too specific to that person. Yeah. But if they are very specific questions that she doesn't want to answer in a public forum, she will always say, leave your message, your details in the comment, or send it as a direct message to the page, and she'll pick it up afterwards and she'll look at the person's notes and she'll phone them and she'll answer their questions in a more appropriate manner.
That's giving up a lot of time, that one.
Yeah, she does give up a lot of time to answer questions because it's all about making sure that everyone gets the best out of the service.
Yeah. No. Now, there's also, I don't want to make this funny, but I mean, there's also a milk donation scenario.
Yeah.
Which is what it's called. Is it called donor breast milk?
Yes, so human milk donation.
Human milk donation.
Breast milk donation.
Yeah, exactly. But what is that? Is that like a organization or is that a project? Or
so at the Countess of Chester Hospital in Chester, there is what's called a milk bank.
A milk bank, okay.
A milk bank. And they don't just do our region. They send donated breast milk that they receive, they pasteurize.
They keep it cold,
they pasteurize it, they make it 100% safe, and they then deliver it to neonatal units and hospitals across the country. Which is an amazing
Watch out,
thing.
they'll be in a store near you soon, I guess.
It's just amazing.
Is it free though?
It's so the women are donating it free. They're volunteers that are donating the time to not only feed their own babies but to express any extra milk that they have to donate. And it's actually the blood bikes that pick up and donate.
The blood banks?
The blood bikes. So the motorbike cyclists which are volunteers that deliver blood to hospitals. They also deliver the milk. They pick it up from families and they donate.
The blood bikes.
The blood
you
bikes.
either have milk or you have blood. I mean,
they're amazing.
They're like them barber signs, where I had the red, white, and blue and everything. Which one do you deliver? But reason why I also asked that is because you were saying something about colostrum milk, which is a little bit different, isn't it?
So, colostrum harvesting or antenatal colostrum harvesting is when a pregnant person, a pregnant woman, hand expresses her breast milk before the baby is born, and colostrum is the name of the milk that comes through first, and it's the fatty stuff, it's the good stuff that babies really need in those first few hours. So,
Ah.
at our infant mental health event, we're going to have Rose Bellamy, who's our infant feeding lead from the hospital. She's going to explain about how you can do this and do it safely.
Yeah.
Because it's a good thing to do for when your baby's
Well, it's
being
also
born.
I think it's a good thing to know. So I mean, I didn't know there was so many different, types and everything. So
But there's a video on our social media platform about human milk donation, and
is there a video? Look at that, man. She got a whole like website, or do you have like a YouTube channel, or
we haven't got a YouTube channel now.
why?
They're all
Why?
saying, I don't know yet.
Well, where
There's
they
only so
sit?
much I can do in 16 hours.
Well, where are they sitting? Where are these little? Because she showed me.
They're saved on
the
Facebook and on Instagram.
Facebook videos.
Facebook and on Facebook videos.
Yeah, I think you need
I
to get
apologise
involved
for the
with
sound. The sound's not going to be as good as this is, but
No, but
limited resources.
Yeah, you also need to get involved with YouTube. Get to the world, woman. You know what I mean? Now, last one was like you already mentioned them, but I thought it was kind of funny. Is Singing Mama's Midwives. Now, this just shows a different personality inside to the midwifery and stuff like that. Is this only at Arrow Park or?
I'm unsure. I wouldn't know about what goes on in other hospitals, but yeah, our maternal mental health midwives are a lovely bunch. Always first to help me out at an event and do their singing mammies. So, singing mammies is all about pregnant people, pregnant women together in a circle, singing together with the mental health midwives because it's been shown to improve your mood, oxytocin levels, and really work to improve low level anxiety, low level depression during pregnancy.
Have you
And it's
sung with them?
beautiful.
Have you sung with them?
I have at our maternal mental health event a couple of weeks ago. I
Right.
stood up and sang with them as well. Yeah.
So what's your go-to song? It's like karaoke, I think.
It's all different. Sorry.
Nah. What's your favorite?
I'm not singing live now.
I'm
No,
not asking
a
you to
chance.
sing. I mean, I don't want to be demonetized. I was just only saying what's your go-to song on the with the group and everything. It's like there's that one. All right, let's all do this one. Like Robbie Williams Field or something. I mean, that's a good one. But either way, it sounds like a real fantastic project
It is.
that you got going on, and Wirral Maternity Voices. Is that how you can find them on all the social media?
So if you just search Wirral Maternity Voices on Facebook or Instagram, on Twitter it's Voices Wirral. But yeah, Liverpool Maternity Voices, Chester Maternity Voices, or any area that you're in. There's pretty much, I think, every area's got one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, like if you were like a couple about to have a baby or single person or whatever and all that kind of stuff, you have any questions, at least this would be a way of getting those questions answered.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not during the live stream, there probably is during the past live streams. I mean, are the live streams like titled, like the content title
Yeah.
live streams, like?
Service user updates.
No, I mean like what they were talking about, like colostrum milk, or
Some of them are. Some of them are like cesarean section, induction
That's
of
what I mean.
labour,
Yeah.
infant feeding. Others are just updates.
I
Of
thought
what's
she was
going
gonna say
on.
I'm only one person, but you're also a very passionate person.
I'm incredibly
And
passionate
I
about
mean,
my job.
I'm pretty sure that the people of Wirral Park on the Wirral do appreciate the work that not just you but the organization provides
I hope
and
so.
everything. And June 15th is their next event,
Yeah, Callister Garden.
Callister Garden,
Callister Garden. June
bonding
15th.
before birth, and everything like that. And I'm pretty sure there'll be other projects that are coming up in the summer And I guess, is there a website
Yes, we do have a website, but
that
it's
will have these information?
yeah, it does. But I'll have to share the link afterwards because it's a free website and it's very long.
Nah, that's all it
I
always
know
is.
it's free, so
Something like that goes
yeah.
NHS.org.uk, something like that probably. As you do.
Don't know it off the top of my head.
All right, look at that. I thought she was prepped. All right, well, Victoria, no, she had a lot to prepare, you know. So, Victoria, I would just like to thank you for joining us here
Thank
on the
you.
Liverpool Community Podcast. You've been listening to Victoria Walsh from the Wirral Maternity Voices. I'm your host, Chase Johnson Lynch. And, you know, I mean, hey, you know, for now, we out of here. Peace.